Welcome to Tackle Talk Live, dedicated to making you a better fisherman. Proudly brought to you by our sponsors: The Boat Shop, 3J's Four-Way, Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, The Lakes Insurance Agency, V&M Baits. Now on to your hosts, Ranger Daiwa Pro Staff Steve Graff and V&M Baits President Kevin Jean.
Welcome to another edition of Tackle Talk Live. I'm Ranger Daiwa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with V&M President Kevin Jean. And put another log on the fire. Pour yourself some hot chocolate or grab you something to eat, because for the next 30, 40 minutes, we're going to entertain you. We're going to talk about Sam Rayburn once again showing out this past week, not only with a big fish, but with another good stringer, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, a 26, almost 27-pound stringer takes to win Bass Champs this weekend. And guys, everybody's like, oh, it didn't take 30. Steve, it's tough over there right now.
Yeah.
I mean, 27 pounds, 24 pounds is and I say tough, it's not easy to catch big fish right now.
No.
But the storyline for me is there was a 13-pound Sharelunker caught.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys, as you've alluded to, that are struggling. Some good sticks that are not catching them. You may be catching fish, but finding the quality. And when you do find quality, you better hang on to them, because they're there. There's more there where you're at right now. They are grouped up right now.
They are, and you hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of locals over there that live on the lake, that are fishing it every day, that are just struggling to catch any size right now.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Mundy had 40 pounds last week and wasn't in the top 100 this week.
Yeah, no.
I mean, so you just don't know.
When you see bowlware struggling and well, they're getting checks, but so on and so forth. I can go down the line. Castledine, that's who I was trying to think of off the top of my head. Chris Wilson, all those guys, they're catching solid bags. Corey Rambo and them had 20 pounds. They're Mr. Consistency over there on Sam Rayburn, but it's just tough. That big bite's not happening. So for 27 pounds to win this tournament this weekend, hats off to Josh Rogers, Casey Burley. It's a heck of a stringer right now over there, but man, a 13-pound Sharelunker.
Yeah. Hey, you don't catch those every day.
That hasn't been done that I know of, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong on the feed here, but Stacy Spriggs caught one, it's been about 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Over there, and that was the last one caught, to my knowledge. So,
And also, real quick, we want to take the time to pass on some sad news that some of you may or may not be aware of. Mark Pack, Lake Fork guy, fishing pro, passed away this past week. And I think COVID-19
issues
was his main issue, and our thoughts and prayers are with the Pack family. And I had the chance to meet Mark one time. I hate that I didn't get to spend a little more time with him, especially at Lake Fork. I met him, but he was a super nice guy. Just happened to run into him over at Lake Fork Marina, and but he's well liked. A lot of people fished with Mark.
Probably the most popular guy, I would think,
agree.
over there on Fork. I mean, that's going to impact that whole community. Mark was Mr. Lake Fork. I mean, he just, that whole community I hate to hear the news coming out.
I watched a great episode with him and Scott Martin on the Scott Martin's Challenge program that Scott does, and they were on Lake Monticello, just outside my hometown of Mount Pleasant, Texas. So. But anyway, again, we're going to miss Mark. He had a big impact. He had his own baits tackle line. And
he started the impact jigs, and he did it all. Mark did a little bit of it all, and like I said, it's going to be a huge loss to that community. And thoughts and prayers go out to the family, all of the fishing family, and everybody up there around Lake Fork.
Just a great ambassador of the sport, and so thank you for all you did for us, Mark. But before we get to, we're going to have Casey Burley.
Yeah.
From
the winning team.
Where'd you say he's at right now?
We might get Casey in a little bit of trouble. So Casey is on his honeymoon right now, and we're going to have to ask him. I don't really know exactly where he's at. He's out of the United States, but we got him all lined up to come on to the call. So Casey might get in a little bit of trouble after this interview.
Yeah, he's going to be on the coconut phone down on an island off Mexico. So we'll see if maybe we have to talk to the professor as well while we do this. But anyway, we're going to get Casey on. This is a first.
Yeah.
This is a first. So I'm looking forward to it. But real quick, we got some really good sponsors we want to recognize real fast.
The Boat Shop. Mr. Raymond Kidd and his staff take great pride in keeping your boat motor performing at its best. A certified Yamaha and full support Garmin dealer offering the best in the electronics and the new Garmin trolling motor. Stop by 2410 Sanford Avenue in Shreveport and let the Boat Shop take care of all your boating needs.
Hey, 3J's Four-Way, Cypress and the Outdoors, John Abraham and them, just off exit 127 off I-49. Make sure you take that exit 127. If you're coming from the north, turn left, go back on the interstate. If you're coming from the south, turn right off the interstate. You'll run right into the store. Great deli, great bait and tackle selection, hunting, ammo. Got a little bit of ammo down there. You guys looking for ammo, especially shotgun shells. John's got a little bit down there. Now, I did call about some 270s, and he laughed at me when I called about 270 ammunition. He said, no, you can forget that. But if you're looking for some shotgun shells, maybe to get through the rest of the season this year, check out John Abraham, Cypress and the Outdoors. But it's fishing season. The crappie must be biting because they were out on Sibley yesterday while it was snowing and sleeting. So those guys were committed and dedicated. But if you're a crappie angler, John's got a great selection of crappie gear as well. So check it out, Cypress and the Outdoors.
Pride Rods, American-made and custom-built right there in Montgomery, Texas. The finest rods ever made by Mr. Billy Kilsler, constructed with the finest North Fork composite blank by Mr. Gary Loomis. They carry all your freshwater and saltwater applications all the way from spinning and casting rods. Stop by your local tackle store and pick one up or simply ask about Pride Rods. You can also go online at priderods.com or call 832-418-6040.
And Keys Tackle over at Toledo Bend. If you're headed for Toledo Bend or going across and headed over to Rayburn, it's a great place to stop in. Got great tackle, all the top name brands right there at Keys Tackle. And Ben Matsubu, former Elite Series Pro, is in there working the counter, and he'll be glad to maybe give you some bits of information that might help you catch a big one out there on Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn. Ben's full of information, knows what he's talking about, and when Ben tells you something, you can probably trust it. So stop by Keys Tackle over there. It's located at 6302 State Highway 21, East Hemphill, Texas. Like I said, just across the Pendleton Bridge as you cross over Toledo Bend. So check it out.
The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency that has been taking care of Texans' insurance needs for 25 plus years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, recreational, vehicle, life, health, and commercial insurance. The owner, Mr. Clark Moore, is a local guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs as a boat owner and wants to be your go-to guy. The agency is located at 805 Stallings, Suite 3 in Nacogdoches, or give them a call at 936-205-4467.
And while Kevin's getting Casey Burley on with us from Bass Champs, I'm going to give you this kind of little rundown here of the Bass Champs. Finishing second in this event at Sam Rayburn was Keelan Manuel and Clint Conrad. They had 5 fish for 24.33. They were basically a little over 2 pounds behind Casey and Josh Rogers. Pete Lowe and Jerry Strother finished third. They had 21 pounds even. Rusty Clark and Corey Rambo finished fourth with 20.61. And topping out the top 5 was Wyatt Frankens and Cody Brackinger. They had 5 fish for a total of 20.21. But on the phone, we have the champion, one of the champions. Josh Rogers was the other guy in the boat, along with Casey Burley. They had 5 fish with a big fish of 7.23 for a total of 26.69. Casey, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Actually, on vacation right now.
Well, yeah, I don't know how we
tracked you down. Is it vacation or is it honeymoon?
Yeah.
It's our honeymoon 2.0, I guess you can say. Okay. The pandemic hurt us the first time, so we rescheduled it. So it's kind of like a vacation / honeymoon.
So you on a secluded island in the Bahamas, or where are you?
Just north of South America, called Antigua.
Oh, wow.
And what's the last? That's Barbuda, something like that.
Wow.
Antigua's the main island.
Kevin, we've been on a lot of places to Tackle Talk Live, but we've never been
to
as far as Antigua.
That is a fact.
That's
that is
pretty
a
cool.
fact. James, is he coming okay through on the audio board? Okay, just making sure because we're having to get him through on a Wi-Fi signal here, so wanting to make sure he's coming through well. Casey, let's go ahead and jump into it, man. 2669. You're no stranger to these weights. You're no stranger to Tackle Talk Live. We had you on last year when you broke the 30-pound stringer mark. But before we get into the tournament, I want to talk about practice. I saw last weekend you guys were practicing. Neither one of you fished the BFL or the Outlaw Outdoors last weekend, correct?
Correct.
So we're practicing last weekend, and man, I seen the Facebook post. What y'all caught some big ones last weekend, and made a couple casts. You said and left. Was it the same group of fish? What did we find? Did we find these fish last weekend in practice?
Yes, we did. I'll go back 4 days in practice. So I practiced Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We were going to plan on fishing the Sweet 16 and using that as a practice, like, tournament type deal. Like, if we catch it, we catch it. We don't, we don't.
Right.
But I'll start on Thursday. I got up there by myself Thursday. Did not get a single bite. Not one bite Thursday.
Wow.
If anybody knows, I mean, me and my partner, we stay offshore year-round. I mean, that's just what I do. It's what we feel confident in. So Friday comes, I said I'm going to fish a little bit shallow. I'm going to try the shallow deal just for a little bit early in the morning, just to see if there's an early morning bite I can find, get a limit. Well, fished all day Friday, not a single bite again. All day, from daylight to dark. I was like, okay, this is bad. Saturday comes around, I was like, I'm just going to stay on the graph, stay behind my lower ranches, and just find something. Friday comes around, I don't catch a fish in regulation. When I say regulation, I mean 7 to 3 in tournament hours. Now, I finally found a school of fish around 4:30, 5 o'clock, right before dark. But, I mean, they were all about 1 pound, one, maybe 2 pounders. Caught a lot of them, but it didn't clue me in on what these fish were really doing. I think it was just a school of fish that were feeding that evening. So Saturday rolls around. My fishing partner, Josh, we finally get in the boat together. I said, dude, I haven't got a single bite. I've been all the way up to the 103, and I've been all the way down south. He said, well, have you looked to the east side of the lake? I said, nope, I have not. So we started on the south end, east. We're on Needmore, where we started at. So we started Needmore, and around, it was probably 11:30, noon. We still didn't catch a single fish. And I was like, dude, this is just, like, we're not fishing champs. We haven't caught a single fish. And that's where he goes, all right, let's just go graph one more point. I said, all right, let's do it. Sure enough, we graphed over this one point, and this is a baby brush pile. When I say baby, it's smaller than the front deck of your boat. And we seen 3 dots on it. Just 3. And I said, all right, let's make a couple of casts. Well, I pick up a Carolina rig. My buddy picks up the 500 ED. Throwing around, his first cast, he catches one right at 7. And we're confused because typically with a crankbait, they eat it while it's on the bottom, right? You're grinding the bottom. Well, this fish hit it at the boat. Like he was like pumping it up. You know, you pump up a big crankbait when it gets close to the boat.
Yeah.
And that's when it ate it. And I was like, I said, don't make another cast. We'll just leave. It's the only bite we really got, and it was a big bite. As I'm getting his first fish out of the net, he did a same thing last year, same thing. Picked out my crankbait, throws it in there, cranking. All I hear is big fish. I'm like, yeah, I know it's a big fish. It's in my hand. He goes, no, another one. I said, you do not make another cast. But this time it ate it. He said as soon as it hit the bottom, it ate it. And it weighed right over 8 pounds. And I was like,
so y'all have a 7 and an 8 going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like back-to-back, literally back-to-back casts. And he boats that one. We kind of back off the brush pile. There's nobody's around us. And I was like, well, daggum. I didn't feel like it was like the spot we had last year. Like last year when we grabbed over that brush pile, like I said, it just looked fake.
Yeah.
Dots everywhere. This one just had 3 little dots on it. I was like, maybe it could be something, maybe it's not. I don't feel confident in it. So anyways, we throw them fish back. I said, all right, what's different about this one than any other one? He goes, nothing really. I was like, just a small brush ball. Like it's I don't know if you can call it a brush pile. It was a brush pile, but I think it's an older brush pile is what I think it is. In all honesty, I think it's an old brush pile. I said, well, it's around 1 o'clock, 12:31. I said, we always fish till 3 o'clock. We don't try to fish much later because it don't matter.
Yeah.
So I said, we have 2 hours to go run this pattern. Brush pile, small brush pile on points. So we start from the south end. We start going back up to I fish in the Black Forest a lot. That's where I live. I'll say 80% of the time I'm in the Black Forest. So I said, let's go back to a place where we know. Let's go try to find this. So we go back to the Black Forest, start graphing. We find 2 more spots where we thought there could be a fit. We didn't catch it. We didn't make another cast on this pattern. We just kind of graphed and see if we can't see fish. We found 2 more spots that kind of looked promising. We saw like 1 or 2 dots. The same thing we saw in Needmore, but didn't make a cast. Anyways, that day's over. We're like, well, I guess we'll fish the champs. Then during that week, we were texting and said, hey, do you think we should start on that spot? He goes, well, we're getting a lot of rain. I think it was Wednesday. We got a lot of rain on the lake. I said, dude, I don't know if I don't know because.
What depth are we talking about here, Casey? Yeah. What depth are we talking about?
23 foot. 22.
Oh wow, that's a lot deeper than I thought.
It was actually off the drop. The little brush pile. So on top, it was about 15ish on top of the point.
Right, but the brush pile is off the point.
It was off the ledge. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the location you had to look for them. A lot of people like to find them on tops, which is typical. You want to find them right on top.
Yeah, it's a whole lot easier to catch them when they get up there.
Yeah.
Correct. So this brush pile, all 3 of them really were on the side of the point.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're texting. I said, man, the lake's going to rise. So any offshore fisherman knows you have to pay attention to how much that lake rises. Water depth is key on any offshore place. So we guesstimate it rose close to 8 inches to a foot. That's what we were guessing. I said, we're not going to. We thought we weren't going to catch a single fish because how practice went and this lake is rising. It's never good. So tournament morning, I said, all right, we're going to start off that first spot. So we do. We pull up to that first spot. We're boat 50. So we're blessed to get an early boat number because that's the only time we can catch them early. And we knew the wind was going to die around 9 o'clock. That's what time, like if you look at the Weather Channel, we use Wind Tracker. The wind was going to die down. It's going to start shifting towards more to the east instead of the north. And it was going to get sunny. I said, we have to catch our fish early. I know last year we caught them late, but I was like, we have to get them early. We're not getting a single bite. We pulled up that first spot. Our first 6 casts, we had 20 pounds.
God.
All 4. It was all 4-pounders. Literally my first cast caught a 4. His first cast caught a 4. I think he blanked, and I caught another 4. It was all 4-pounders, all solid 4s. It was 1986 on my scale. And we didn't get a bite within like the next 30 minutes.
6 casts.
8 o'clock.
And 20 pounds and 6 casts.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And so literally I was like, all right, it's been 30 minutes, no bite. So we picked up a Carolina rig. That's what you kind of go to. Football jig, Carolina rig. We didn't get a single bite. And so I guess it was just an early morning deal. Let's run the next 2 spots. So it's about 8 o'clock. So we start heading up north to the Black Forest. Pull up to our first spot. On the 500 DD. Throw it in there. Buddy's first cast. He catches a 7-pounder.
Ooh.
I was like, okay. We fished that for another 5 or 6 minutes.
So you're around 23 right at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right at 23. I said, all right. That's pretty good. So we went to the next spot.
That's a good call.
That's a good call. I don't know if anybody's seen the picture. We had a sick fish on that first spot. Like, it was paper thin, broke back. This fish looked like it's been through heck and back twice. Ugly looking fish. And so we catch the next brush piles in the Black Forest. Catch a 7-pounder at 7:23 actually. Fish 5 or 6 more minutes, not a single bite. Said okay. So we ran to the next point. End up doubling up on a 5 and a 6, I think it was. I think we had a 7-6, a 5, and 2 4s. I think that's what we had. And we caught 2 more big ones, a 6 and a 5 off the next spot. And it's around 9 o'clock. I said, all right, let's rerun every single brush pile. So we start heading back down south, not a single bite. And we're like, we had 26, 69 because we didn't catch another fish after 9 o'clock.
Now, Steve, this is the guy that came in second to the Danny Isles 49-pound stringer last year.
Yeah.
And what'd you have, Casey, that day? They had 49. What'd you have that day?
30.82.
Had 30.82 to a 49-pound sack. So here you are at 9.30. You got 26.69. 40 pounds won last weekend. What's the thoughts going through your head right now?
Time to take a nap.
Order a pizza. I'm ready to order a pizza.
I mean, it is what it is at that point. You've already reran them. You've got what you got. You know you've got a top 5 stringer for sure. But
it's exactly what we thought in our head.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're blessed.
Yeah.
So after the first spot, we literally said, dude, we're blessed to have what we have.
Yeah.
After the practice we had, not a single bite besides them 2 big ones. Majority, we had no bites. I said, I'm blessed. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, at this point, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So at lunchtime, I said, let's just take a nap. And we're going to let that first – we really thought that first brush pile had the biggest school of fish. So I said, let's try to not fish that. Because we beat it up. After we went back the second time, we fished it for a solid hour. One brush pile, just grinding everything we could. Not a single bite. So let's just let that rest. So we didn't fish. We literally I went to the mill. I got about 500 yards away. And
that's brave, because I would be sick if somebody pulled up to it.
Yeah.
Well, we had a few people get close. But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if that's the type of person they want to be and do that, that's up to them. I mean,
well,
no control over that. People do that.
Yeah, and two, you don't know. They may actually knew about the spot as well. You just happen to beat them to it, you know.
Exactly. And I think that's true. I think somebody might have known that. We had one guy come idle, but I don't know if he was just trying to see if we're on the spot or I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, we go out towards the middle of the lake, spot lock, eat us a nice lunch, just kind of calmed ourselves down like we knew we had a good bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still thinking Derek Money dropped 40-10. And he said there was more fish down there. We're like, well, he's going to have 30-plus today. Shook and Danny can never just count them out. We're like, they're going to have them. You got Rambo. They always do good this time.
You can go down to Castledine and everybody else. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I got asked. Somebody shot me a text Friday night and said, "Well, and we did a Tackle Talk post. What's it going to take?" Which we will be announcing the winner today. By the way, everybody was just letting everybody know. We did a little a Facebook giveaway with Tackle Talk on what would it take, and everybody was over 30.
Yeah.
I mean, all the guesses, and I seen you did as well, Casey. I mean, everybody thought it was over 30, and I know you did too. But like you said, at that point in the day, we got 26, 27 pounds. It is what it is at this point. We've got a top 5 in champs. You're getting paid well. So
now, Casey, I want to ask you a technical question.
Yes, sir.
You said you're pretty much exclusively offshore guy. You know, have you noticed a difference in fish behavior over the last year and a half when you get around fish? Have you noticed the difference between what it was, say, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Mm-hmm. So, like I said last year, this lake goes in cycles. And typically your same spots will produce every 3 to 4 years. I've noticed stuff I'm catching on in history don't have no more. No. I notice every new stuff I find, literally every new stuff I find, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. There are particular casts we're making on these brush piles.
Absolutely.
There's one angle you have to hit. I don't know exactly what it is, but I just know we catch that fish off that lineup. I don't know exactly.
You know the lineup on that. You know the lineup on that blue dot.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm just looking at my waypoints. I don't know if we're just hitting that brush pile perfect. I don't know if we're just going right next to it. I don't know why that lineup is.
Yeah.
Now, Casey, you tell me this. Something I have noticed, the deep bite, you've got to be a lot more stealthy, too. You can't, if I know there's a pile that's got fish on it, on game day, I'm not idling it to make sure they still got fish on it. You can't anymore. When you idle over it, on tournament day when there's boats everywhere, I mean, it's just like telling them, hey, I'm here and I'm fixing to cast something in that brush pile.
Well, you know, we talked to Derek Monday last week. We've had Derek on before, and I've gotten to know Derek over the years. And, of course, Derek has basically said, I don't go idle over my fish the day before a tournament.
You can't
I am not.
Right.
He said, you can run a hole. They'll leave there. They'll disperse. He said, I just stay off. If I find them 4 or 5 days, I just won't go back to them till tournament day.
Correct. No, that's exactly what we do. After we find a spot, I never idle it ever again, basically.
Yeah.
I never do. It's just one of them deals, like, if I fish that spot next year, I'm not going to fish it in practice. I'll just pull up and fish it. That's all I'm going to do.
Right, right.
But I don't know. So there's something that I really got to thinking about of why did from that not catching no fish on crankbait to all of a sudden catching them. So in practice, the first 3 days, I was throwing the new Crush series about 6 cents, the C20. I've thrown that for a long time now, ever since it came out. They used to have an old series called the 500 DD Crush. It's one of the very first crankbaits ever came out with, and they finally got them back in stock. And for some odd reason, I was like, I'm going to tell them the old 500 Wild Shad. So, and I don't know if anybody ever throws them, if they know the difference. The C20 is a thicker body, big bill. The 500D is a skinnier bill and skinnier body.
It don't have as hard. It don't wobble as hard either.
See, it's like a rattle trap.
Yeah.
During this time of year, what's fire? Rattle trap and have a tight wobble.
It's a tight wobble.
Tight wobble, yeah.
So I don't know if I think that's what made a difference. I truly do.
Right.
Because as soon as I tied it on, literally that's what we call our 2 fish on in practice, and that's what we call our fish on in tournament.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did that really make a difference? In my mind, I'm going to say yes, just because it sounds good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think I know what I'm doing. But
well, Casey, man, look, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you giving us this time and while you're on vacation with your wife, man, and going into
honeymoon.
And I appreciate you going into the details how you have, man. A lot of people won't do that, and I sure appreciate all you've done. And man, congratulations. What tournament you got coming up next?
We will be fishing the Outlaw.
The Outlaw at the end of the month.
We will be fishing that one. So
gotcha.
Don't think I'm going to fish the Costa. Right. I'm not that good yet. So.
26.69. You're not that good yet.
Yeah.
Nah. Not for 3 days. Hey, 1 day fishing is different than 3.
What about ABA Pro Series? You looking to fish that, the 150?
Thought about it. That crossed my mind. I looked that up. It's coming up on the 28th.
Yeah, they got Toledo being first on the 6th.
Come on over to Toledo.
Yeah.
No. I'm not getting my butt kicked.
Casey, man, again, congratulations, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you much, Kevin.
All right.
Have a good day.
There you go. We heard straight from the horse's mouth right there. And
Steve, I don't know if we've had anybody else that has ever given that amount of info that he just gave.
Yeah, I mean, he went into great detail, and we appreciate it. And hopefully somebody out there, maybe you learned something from that conversation. And so what
he let you know what depth, he let you know everything on how he done it. So, I mean, straight from the horse's mouth right there, 26.69, won Bass Champs, and just laid it all out there on the table for you.
Right.
So,
and real quick, while Kevin, we're going to try to get Travis Moore on, who caught a 13.44 Sharelunker, and we'll get him on real quick. Recognize our sponsors, the Boat Shop, 3J's 4-Away, Cypress Knee Outdoors, Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, and the Lake Insurance Agency. Again, guys, thank you. We can't do the show without you. We really appreciate you. If you're looking to become a sponsor, would like to be a sponsor, again, we've been averaging over 4,000 views a week. Just starting out, had a great week last week. How many views did we end up with last week?
Total was over 4,000.
Yeah. So, hey, we're getting good exposure. You're going to get good exposure as well. So make sure you contact us on Facebook and either message Kevin or myself, message us on Facebook. We'll send you a packet and get you signed up as quick as we can. All right, on the phone, I believe we now have
Mr. Travis Moore.
Yeah, Travis Moore had a 13.44 Sharelunker last weekend. And Travis, you got any details you want to share with us, buddy?
Well, it was just a good morning, you know. We pulled out there and we got set up and got a few bites before that one. And cast it in the right spot, pulled up, set the hook on her. She come up out there, and I knew she was a giant as soon as we caught her.
Did you say get the net?
I didn't even have to say get the net.
Yeah.
Partner was already getting the net. And he said, how big you think she is? And I said, I believe she's 13 plus.
My Lord.
And, really? You knew?
Yeah, I caught it. Yeah, we've caught quite a few big ones in our time.
That's impressive, Travis. I will say that is impressive.
Yeah.
I have netted. I've caught 110, and I have netted about 5 of them for my former partner, Mr. Daryl Gleason, before he went pro on me. I netted about 5 or 6 of his, and I can still tell you. I still can't tell you.
Yeah.
When they get over 9, you forget it. I can't even come close to it.
Yeah.
So that's impressive. First of all.
Well, last year we was practicing for the Texas Team Trail over at Toledo Bend, and my partner caught 2 10s back to back.
My God.
Over there with, yeah.
Wow.
So we're around them. We catch them pretty regular, but it's just once I seen her, I just had that gut feeling when she come up out there, you know.
Well, Travis, what was you throwing? Was you deep cranking? Was you in deep water? I know a lot of the bigger fish are out deep right now. They still hadn't pulled up yet, of course. But so tell us what you did.
It was about 13 foot, 13, 14 foot deep.
Yeah.
I was throwing a Carolina rig.
Okay. All right. Now, y'all finished the day. Let me make sure here. 4 fish for 1928. I mean, did y'all ever have anything else on, with her? I know a lot of them big fish roam in groups over there. Did you ever have another one hooked up or anything?
We had 4 bites before her that morning, but they was biting real funny. Mm-hmm. And we just couldn't get them hooked up. And finally, that last bite, whenever I caught her, I just pushed my button and let her take it. And she took it. She started swimming with it, and swam with it, and I set the hook. And even when we got it, when I got her up and put her in the live well, or took her off, she was just barely hooked in the top of the lip.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Even that, usually after you give them that much line, they swallow it,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Now, what time did you catch her?
It's probably about 8:30 or so.
It's a long day for a fish that size in the live well.
I never even weighed her. I just stuck her in the live well, and I just got back to fishing.
Yeah.
And that's what I told my partner. Well, I weighed her finally about 3 o'clock, 2:40. Well, about 2:45, somewhere at 3 o'clock. We had a 3:40 weigh in, and I weighed her somewhere around there. And I told him, I said, she's 13. He said, he's like, we might ought to just go ahead and ease down that way. Then he said, with a fish like that, I said, yeah. I said, it's probably a good idea. So we just packed up and headed on in.
Now, I assume you got hold of Texas Parks and Wildlife. They took possession of the fish and for spawning purposes. I mean, I hope that's what happened.
Yes, sir, I did. I took. We got a hold of Kyle. I took her over to the fish hatchery over there. They put her in a tank, made sure she was good, checked her out, and kept her in a big tank over there until Kyle come and picked her up from
Sharelunker.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that's just not something that happens every day. There's people fish their whole life, including me. I'm 59. I've caught a 10. That's the highest I've ever gotten. That's the closest I've ever gotten. And it just doesn't happen to everybody. I mean, that's a fish of a lifetime for most. So congratulations, man.
I appreciate it. That's the first bass for 2021. That was the first bass I've caught.
Wow.
So you haven't been over at Sam Rayburn this whole year? Y'all just showed up at Champs and went fishing?
That was the first time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
But last year we caught 29 pounds in that same spot. So we kind of figured they should have, some of them be there,
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question. Have you fished that spot before?
Yeah, we've caught them there before.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, Travis, man, we just want to say congratulations again on that Sharelunker, and just want to kind of get your story, how it all went down. But we appreciate you joining us today. We know you're at work, so I appreciate you taking the time to come on and kind of talk to us a little bit about it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all.
All right, Travis Moore. Their team finished 8th with a total weight of 1928 with a 1344 kicker. So congratulations to those guys. Rounding out the top 10, Jason Moorhead and Ty Moorhead from Jasper, Texas. They were 9th in this event with 1913. And Curtis Floyd from Newton, Texas, fished by himself. He had 5 fish for 10th that weighed 18.45. So congratulations to all you guys. Just some of the top names. I'm just looking down the list here. Castledine and Jason Bonds out of Lufkin. They finished 15th with 1771. I'm just trying to see anybody else I really recognize going down the list. Kevin Lazion, James Blythe, they finished 22nd with 5 fish weighing 1722. So congratulations to those guys as well. But anyway, it was a very well-attended tournament.
Right at 300 boats, like 290 something.
291 was the total turnout. So once again, it's that time of year. Everybody's wanting to go fishing, and what a better place than Sam Rayburn.
Yeah, absolutely. And Steve, if you look at these results, second place, Keelan Manuel. I don't believe it's the same partner. he might shoot me a text later, but partner was Clint Conrad this past weekend. Keelan won the Outlaw Outdoors Sweet 16 last weekend with 21. Comes up second here in Bass Champs, 24-33. So, I mean, he's definitely on some good fish. Just kind of looking out there, Wyatt Frankens, who finished fifth this weekend, was top 5 in the BFL. Corey Rambo, Rusty Clark was fourth. They finished top 5 in the Outlaw last weekend. So you can kind of see the guys that are on the right groups of fish, and they're handling the fish properly. They've got to be getting what they're getting, or they've got a pattern figured out, or just getting on a spot, catching them, and getting off of it.
Yeah.
But that you can kind of look through here from this weekend to last weekend and see the guys that's on the right fish.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it's just going to continue. It's going to get better. And we just had this, this snow came through and this freezing rain. That's definitely. I talked to a guy, said the water temperature was around 54 degrees. Excuse me, that was Toledo Bend. Water temperature at Toledo Bend on the south end of Toledo Bend, Pirates Cove area. He said it was around 54 degrees on Saturday when he went pre-fishing a little bit. And but anyway, so I'm sure Rayburn is right there in that same area as far as water temp, 54, 55 probably. So, and this cold snap we had come through may drop it even more.
Yeah. And I think that might get those fish on Rayburn going a little bit better. Those shallow fish. We haven't seen the shallow fish play as much as I thought they would beginning of the year when everybody was really catching them shallow over there. I really expected in these tournaments the last 2 weekends the shallow fish to play a little bit bigger role than they have, and they just haven't shown up. I mean, every tournament we've known that has won, and I don't know how Keelan and those guys are catching them, but, I mean, the last 2 weekends, the big tournaments, everything's been one out deep.
Yeah. And, of course, again, if tournaments are starting up earlier and earlier, we still wasn't cranking up tournaments yet. We were usually the last week in January was when things used to kick off. Now it's the whole month of January. So things are kicking off a little earlier. Our time schedule in our head as anglers, I know we rush the spawn way too much. And but anyway, real quick, moving on to some other news. Bassmaster Classic has postponed their tournament due to ongoing public health emergency and associated limits on large gatherings. BAS officials have announced today or last week that the Bassmaster Classic and Outdoors Expo, originally scheduled for late March, would now be moved to June 11th to the 13th, which, Kevin, is probably a good move for attendance.
It is. I mean, for the BASS, I mean, let's be honest here. So much of their income comes off the Classic.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
And for them to do what they need to do and get what they need to get, they just didn't have another option but to move it here, which I think was a good call, and it's still going to be fine in June.
Yeah.
On Lake Ray Roberts, it's still going to be a good event. It's the beginning of June, so maybe it won't be too hot.
Right.
I still think it will be a good event, and I think a really good call by BASS just to make sure they get everything in order. And they need this to go well, and hopefully it does.
Well, it's the Bassmaster Classic. It really doesn't matter when you have it. Yeah, sure, we all like to see big bags brought in. That's a lot of fun to watch, but still.
I just don't want to see in August again.
Well, we don't want to see, what was it, up around Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You weigh 5 pounds a day and you're in the hunt.
You're not going to have that problem at Ray Roberts. Even in June, you're not going to have that problem. No. There'll still be some good bags caught.
Yeah.
So
probably 18 pounds a day.
I don't know Ray Roberts well enough to predict that for June.
We'll have some guys on. We'll have Chris Zaldane. We'll try to get Chris on because he actually lives up. That's his home water. We'll have Chris on maybe in the next couple of months. We got a little more time now.
So in MLF news, so they canceled their whole expo and everything they was doing. They were having the tournament, the Red Crest, which is in February. Their big classic event. It's called the Red Crest. It was going to be on Grand Lake. So they have moved it now.
Yeah.
Since they're not doing the expo, they canceled that tournament to have it next year there. That way Tulsa could host the Red Crest next year. And now they have moved it since there's no expo, there's no fans coming to attendance. They're going right there in East Texas to Lake Palestine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steve, when I tell you that will be a whack fest.
Oh, yeah.
Them boys are going to catch them.
And I will say this. I've actually been there myself. That lake fish is small.
It does. But now MLF, there's only going to be 40 guys on the water at a time.
And that's going to help them.
Correct. They would not have been able to, like the Classic. They couldn't have done this. I've been on it
40
several
is
times
probably
as well.
the max as far as getting guys to spread out where
Yeah.
you're not on top. That's about the max they could do there.
But if some of those guys are going to figure out the right deal,
oh, dude,
and they're going to have Lake Palestine kicks out some hammer bags.
Yeah.
That time of year, it'll be February, mid-February. So there's no doubt. I think a good call by MLF because Grand Lake would have been a struggle.
Yeah.
And making that, it's going to make better TV. Now they don't have an expo. There's nobody coming. So I think a good move by them.
Yeah. I fished a 200 boat tournament there, and Palestine can be really rewarding, and it can be very stingy. I weighed 20 on day one and 0 on day 2. So there you go. It can be great, but it can also be stingy. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a good event.
Yeah, I do.
Good event. Good area, too. Right there in East Texas. That's going to be a good place.
I'm going to go ahead and predict that Porosnik's going to bring the W home on that one.
Hey,
So.
go ahead. Well, we hope so. Good luck, Jacob, on that one. Kevin's put some pressure on you. Yeah. Okay, upcoming schedule next week, January 17th, Rattle Trap Open Series or Open Tournament on Sam Rayburn. I guess I'm assuming that's out of Humphrey Pavilion.
On Sunday out of Humphrey, yes.
Yeah. So and then January 23rd, we got the Outlaw Team Series #1. Now, are those on Sunday as well?
That one 23rd. Is not. That is on Saturday, I believe.
January 23rd is a Saturday. You are correct, Domingo.
Thought so. Making sure here.
The
next week, the busiest week of the whole month.
Now, is there Deadwater for Toyota Series, guys?
No, there's not.
So there'll be guys over there that week.
Yeah, they'll be over there. There's guys going over there now.
I was fishing to say,
there was guys fishing the BFL last weekend that was basically practicing for the Toyota that's out of town.
Right.
So you got January 28th through the 30th is the Toyota Series. January 30th is the ABA Southeast Division. Am I right? On the
ABA Southeast Texas, South Texas Division.
South Texas Division. Yes. January 30th.
That's an open. That's just a regular open.
Right.
Co-angler boaters series.
Then January 31st is the Outlaw Outdoors Sweet 16. And then the very next weekend, finally kicking off Toledo Bend, finally getting kicked off in February there. February 6th, the ABA Solo 150 starts on Toledo Bend. So
yes, and you're fishing for $20,000, a 2-day event. It's going to be the 5th, I think, is it the 5th and the 6th?
6th and 7th, I think.
6th and 7th,
yeah 6th and 7th.
That would be correct. Yeah, Saturday and a Sunday. And,
Friday, Saturday.
Wait, so it's the 5th and... It is the 5th and the 6th.
5th and the 6th, okay.
So it is the 5th and the 6th. And again, and another thing, too, on the Open Series, the one thing I really like about ABA, with the other company out there, let's just go and say BFL, you got to have a guaranteed co-angler to fish BFLs. Nothing wrong with that. ABA, you don't have to have a guaranteed co-angler, but they do encourage you to bring a co-angler. And if you can get somebody to sign up, that's great. But they don't penalize you and pair pro on pro if you don't have a co-angler. You can fish by yourself in the ABA Open Series if they don't have enough co-anglers to go around. That's one of the things I like about the circuit. I can still sign up on the boater side. I'm good to go. I don't have to fret and worry about and search for a co-angler. That's one of the pluses, I think, of ABA. And it's very well run by Chris Wayan.
Now, the Solo 150, there's no co-anglers, right?
No co-anglers at all in the Solo 150. You're in the front of the boat. You're in command of your boat. You're in the boat by yourself. You fish all day. You bring your fish in. It's a pro-style tournament. So there will be a lot of polygraphing going on to make sure everybody's on the up and up. But it's going to be a very well-run, well-respected circuit. And again, for $600 entry fee for a 2-day event, where can you do that and fish for $20,000? So great opportunity.
One last time, I want to say thanks to our sponsors, the boat shop located up there in Shreveport, your go-to Yamaha and Garmin dealer. 3J's Four-Way right here south of Natchitoches. Any hunting and fishing needs you need, check out 3J's Four-Way right there at Cypress Knee Outdoors. Pride Rods, American-made, built right here in Texas, South Texas. Check those guys out, priderods.com. Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, right across Pendleton Bridge on the left. Can't miss it. Go in, get you a fishing report for Ben or Keith. Keith is fishing the Toyo Series here in a couple of weeks, so good luck to him. And the Lakes Insurance Agency, owned and operated by local guide and fisherman Mr. Clark Moore. Give him a call for any of your insurance needs over there located in Nacogdoches, Texas.
Yeah, when you go into one of our sponsors, tell them you heard about them on Tackle Talk Live. That helps us out. And hopefully they'll continue to support our program. And again, we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in today. We appreciate, pass the word along. Let everybody know, your mom, your dad, your grandma, grandpa. Let everybody know about Tackle Talk Live. As right here, if you want to become a better fisherman, you've got to watch Tackle Talk Live.